everybody, and welcome to another 1989Batman.com merchandise spotlight. Today we're taking a look at a brand new item in the Keaton Batman universe, and that is the DC Comics Multiverse 4-inch Batman 1989 figure from Mattel. This Multiverse line is covering the DC Comics characters through different entertainment sources. The first wave covered the Arkham games, I believe it was Arkham Origins maybe, and the second wave covers the DC Comics and a couple of the classic film series. We've got, obviously, the Michael Keaton Batman, there's going to be a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman and Danny DeVito Penguin from Batman Returns, and then a Christopher Reeve Superman and Terrence Stamp General Zod from the classic Superman films. For now, the only ones that have appeared online of shipping so far are this masked version of Batman, an unmasked version of Batman, and General Zod. Penguin seemed like he was supposed to be shipping by now, but nobody's found him yet, so I don't know if he's actually shipping yet. Let's take a look at this packaging. We've got the DC Comics Multiverse logo up here, a Batman 89 movie logo there. Great shot of Michael Keaton Batman here on this inside the insert. We've got a Batman name here, the carded figure with the grapple gun / spear gun along the side. Top of the package listed as being highly detailed and authentic. And we've got an adult collector designation up here, which may be kind of tough for you to see from the camera angle. If you need to see better pictures of it packaged, and you're watching this on YouTube, you can hit the info section and it'll take you to a link for this figure's listing on the site. Alright, the back of the packaging, let's get this over just a little bit, features the same shot of Michael Keaton's Batman, the Batman movie logo once again. A little write-up about the DC Comics Multiverse, which I'll read to you. DC Comics Multiverse figures are inspired by comic-based, character-rich entertainment sources, such as movies and video games. These figures are meticulously designed to be truly authentic, celebrating the many universes of entertaining DC Comics material. We've got other figures from the 4-inch Multiverse line. Mr. Freeze from the Arkham games is up top from the first waves. General Zod, Terrence Stamp from Superman 2. And then we've got the Batman Unmasked version, which is a Michael Keaton head on this same body. That is all that is shown on this card back. But I think when you get the Zod card back, I think it shows both Batmans. So this changes depending on which figure you're getting. Underneath the shot of Batman, we've got just Batman's name and then a little bit about him, which is real name Bruce Wayne, occupation billionaire industrialist, his high-tech gear, grapple gun, bolo launcher, and Batmobile, and villain, the Joker. Let's take a look at him one more time from the front. I won't give too much opinions right now. We'll wait until we get to the couch part of the review for that. I'm sorry if you're getting some monster glare on that Batman picture, but it's really tough with the way this packaging is angled to not get some kind of glare. But let's get him on out of there and we'll take a look at him loose to get a look at the figure. Alright, so here we have the Michael Keaton Batman 89 Multiverse figure out of the box. But unfortunately, I have to stop the video here in a second. And that is because there is a production error on this figure that I'm going to have to fix because I don't really want to review it until it's really the way it's supposed to be. I've spotted this on a few of the figures so far that I've seen on eBay and such, and that is the problem of these forearms are actually reversed. This piece of it's really tough for you to pick this up, but I'll try and, there you can kind of see it. This interior armor where these two lines are, that's actually supposed to be on the outside of the arm. And so these forearms are actually flipped. See how it does not have it on that side? It's kind of tough to make out in the video. But the armor plate is supposed to be on the outside, and these are on the inside, which means that his right forearm is on his left arm, and his left forearm is on his right arm. So it's an easy fix, thankfully. Had it been like the upper arm or something like that, it'd be really tough to fix this. All I have to do is boil up some water, put this arm into the water, pop that joint apart, switch them, and put them back together, which I'm going to do before I finish off the review. But this is something to note. I've seen this on a few of the figures that I've spotted online so far. The early ones that have shipped seem like a lot of them have this issue where the forearms are switched. So if you're buying this at a store, you may want to take a peek at the package and make sure that your forearms are the right way. Otherwise, you're going to have to do this little flip-flop. I have seen one or two on eBay and such that have it right. So hopefully this is just an early problem and it'll get fixed pretty quickly, but obviously it is something to watch out for. But I'm going to take him upstairs, I'm going to switch out the forearms, and we'll get back to this. Alright, we've done the switch now, and the figure is the way it was intended to be. The armor is now accurate on the arms. We've got the armor plate on the outside of that one, and we've got the armor plate on the outside of that one. Like I said, it's a pretty easy switch. Hopefully, though, this is just an early production run thing, and you won't even have to do it, but given the choice of having this issue versus some other part that's switched out or messed up, I will take that. That's not making an excuse, it's just saying that thankfully that is an easy switch. It's just a matter of boiling up some water, dipping these forearms in it all the way up to the point where it meets the joint. Let them heat up inside there for like 60 seconds or something like that. Don't burn yourself. Maybe put the boiling water inside a bowl or something like that and not on the stove. Then pop them apart with like maybe a small flathead screwdriver, pull out the hands, switch the hands, put them back together again, clip it back together. It sounds harder than what it is. But if you need any instructions, you can email me at james@1989batman.com and I'll tell you how to do the switcheroo. Had you not known it was supposed to be like that, it's really tough to even tell that it was messed up. But for me, someone like me that really knows this suit, it would have been a sticking point had I not been able to switch it. And again, it's just these early ones that I've spotted it on. Hopefully it's not a problem as we go on. Let's move past that. Let's get all of the things, though, that maybe I have slight gripes about out of the way first so that we can really focus on how cool this figure is. The head sculpt is not as decent as it was in the early prototype look. The ears are kind of set close together and they're somewhat thick, and the paint on the face isn't the best. But from the side view, it looks quite good, and I like the way this cuts underneath his mask here. Has a little bit of black underneath there. Really gives the feel of Keaton's cowl, you know, where his face was kind of set inside there, and you could almost feel like it was pushing his jaw out a little bit at the bottom. I think it's well done. I also really like the fact that they've painted the pupils, which is the first of the actual like toy figures of Keaton's Batman that have painted pupils. Both the Kenner version and the Toy Biz version just did white eyes, which is accurate to the comic but not accurate to the film. They kept a neck joint in here, which I almost feel like you could have done without. It gives it sort of a look like the Bale suits where it's a disconnect between the head and the cowl. But I understand why they did it. They wanted it to have neck articulation, and the way this cowl comes down onto the cape, it was either eliminated it altogether or put it there, and so they put it there. It gives it a little bit of a thinness where the neck area is, whereas Keaton's cowl should kind of come all the way up. But again, I understand why they did it, because I'd much rather have what they did with this cape here than have a joint somewhere underneath the cowl or something like that. So those out of the way. Let's talk about what the figure really gets right. First of all, that cape. That cape is so good. It's better than the Kenner version, and it's better than the Toy Biz version. It's got this nice sort of pleathery texture to it, and it's got a seam along the top so that it comes around and cuts right above the shoulders, so it has that draped over the shoulders look. In my opinion, this is... I don't have a ton of figures in 3 3/4 scale anymore. I collected the Marvel Universe line for a while there. My kids collect it. For me, this is the best handled cape I've ever seen at 3 3/4 scale. I think it's really well done. The material, they really tried to get a good material going with the sort of fabric-y feel on the inside, the pleather on the outside. They made sure it was underneath the cowl, which is very important to the Keaton suit. And that draped over the shoulder look is just really, really well done. I give them tons of credit for this cape at this scale. It's really well done. As far as the sculpt of the figure, from the neck down, I think it's really, really accurate to the film. It's got a nice chest sculpt going on here, this really nice belt sculpt. The armor on the gloves we've already talked about. You can actually see sort of an armor line in here underneath the bicep, which is nice. The shin armor is really well done. The coverings over the ankle, they're all there. It's like they captured all the details that you really need to capture to get the Keaton suit right. Even the chest insignia is sculpted. Although it's a little bit low in the chest, it could have been a little bit higher. Maybe the cowl points could have came out a little bit more. But these are minor gripes for something that's only 4 inches tall. The paintwork on the emblem is not totally clean. We're losing a little bit of the yellow line around there. When you're looking at the size of my finger compared to that, it's a really, really tiny thing. And so when we're seeing these pictures online that are super blown up, you don't get how tiny this is. It's smaller than my fingernail. And they've sculpted in the details and tried to get the paintwork in there. And I think they did a nice job. The paintwork on the belt is also really cool in that it's got yellow inside, but gold on the outside. Which up close, when you get really, really close, you can see the disparaging, or the difference between the yellow and the gold. But from far away, it just has this nice gold sheen to it. There's an inventive way to do it without painting the whole belt gold. It still gives it sort of that goldish look, but also has the yellow, which... There's a lot of debate back and forth between, is it yellow, is it gold? And this is a kind of a good in-between. It has the yellow and the gold at the same time, and just has sort of a nice sheen to it. Articulation-wise, he's got joints at the knee, a little swivel above the knee, and then he's got this nice hip joint that kind of swings out at a plane and then goes up and down, which to me is preferable to some of the Marvel Universe ball joints, because you can't really get a good sit-down pose a lot of those, whereas this has a really nice ability to sit down. He's got ball-jointed shoulders underneath his cape, and it's really not hindered thanks to that cape being so soft and fabricy. Much better than a plastic cape, in my opinion. And then he's got an elbow joint, a wrist joint, and then we've already talked about his ball-jointed head, which is a very, very slight ball joint, but it is mounted on a ball, I believe. And then he's got a standard waist articulation. Accessory-wise, he includes just his spear gun. It has a really long handle on it, which is much longer than it was in the film. But at this scale, I think that they were just trying to get something that was large enough to maybe pass through regulations of having choking hazards, I would think. Or it could just be the fact that they wanted it to fit in this hand well and not be flopping all over the place. It's a nice sculpt on the spear gun slash grapple gun, with the exception of that handle. It even has a painted gold tip to it for the harpoon slash grapple attachment. That's really nice. I can't believe the accessory is this small that they actually put a paint app on it. I thought that was really well done. Alright, let's take a look at him next to some other similarly scaled figures. First up, we're going to do... Oh, let me take him off of the stand since nothing else is on a stand. In case you're curious what stand I'm using, it's just a standard ProTech newer Star Wars stand. It's got a small peg that fits in these feet really well. Here he is next to the Arkham Origins Mattel Multiverse Batman. As you can see, he's just a smidge taller. And I'm really happy that they went from plastic cape with him to fabric cape on him. I think it really, really helps this figure with that look, that over-the-shoulder look, that fabric cape. If it would have had plastic, you would have lost that elbow joint, or that shoulder joint completely. Here is a Winter Soldier from the Captain America movie line, which is sort of Marvel Universe scale, but maybe just a smidge smaller than some of the Marvel Universe stuff. He does not want to stand for me. Come on now. Ooh, there. Oh, you're making me mad, Winter Soldier. You know what? Fine. You're gonna be that way? I'll just put you on a stand. There. So there he is next to the Winter Soldier, who's now on the stand, and he's still not quite as tall. Let's take Batman back out. I think maybe the closest thing in scale is some of these newer G.I. Joes. Here's the Ultimate Storm Shadow figure. If I can get his feet to stand just right, I'll make him stand up. Oh, come on now. Sorry, guys. You should really stand these things up beforehand, James. As you can see, he's pretty close to Storm Shadow's size. So I think he maybe works the best with the G.I. Joe scaled figures. A lot of the Marvel Universe I work with, too. He almost is too big for those Arkham City figures. Let's put him back on that stand, and then we'll bring him out next to some other Batmans. Put him right there. Here we've got the original Toy Biz Batman, which, did a good job for its time of capturing the details of the suit, but maybe not such a great job on the sculpting of the face, the quality of the plastic, and the sculpt in general. They got the details, but they didn't get the quality. And then we've got the Shadow Wing Batman from Kenner, which is probably the most accurate of the Kenner Dark Knight Collection type figures, in that he's got the gauntlets, the boots, the sculpted chest. This is probably the closest to the Keaton suit of all the Kenner figures. So they're all lined up together. As you can see, each figure has its own drawbacks. The weak link being the Toy Biz of the bunch, I think, overall. Each one has its strengths and weaknesses. The smallest of the bunch is this new Mattel figure, and that's kind of nice in that the Dark Knight Collection vehicles, Batman Returns vehicles, can work pretty well for this. Let me move this stuff out of the way. Here's a, can dust this off a little bit. Here's the original Dark Knight Collection Kenner Batmobile. Zoom back out. Some folks had asked me, can I put him next to a 1/18 scale Hot Wheels Batmobile? And that was going to be way out of scale. I can tell you right now that's not going to work because this isn't really in scale with that at all. Whereas I think he looks really, really nice next to this Kenner Dark Knight Collection Batmobile. That was always a bit on the small side for the Kenner figures. It still is a fantastic Batmobile. No, I'm not dogging it when it came to the Kenner figures. But since this guy's a little bit smaller than the Kenner figures, he works really well next to it. And he can fit inside. Let's get you in there. And in there. It's really tough to do on a picture table, guys. There we go. He can fit inside. He looks pretty good inside there. Let's kind of zoom in on him a little bit there. But even if you don't have him posed inside of it, the fact that it is the correct scale to him, or at least as close as you're going to get, he looks really good standing beside it. It's not a cheap Batmobile, but if you're looking for a Batmobile for these figures, I would recommend you go with the Kenner Dark Knight collection. So I think that wraps up everything on the figure itself. Let's take him over to the couch, and Blaze and I'll give our final thoughts on it. Hey everybody, welcome to another 1989 Batman.com merchandise spotlight. As you can see from the opening sequence, we're taking a look at the first figure we have received out of the DC Multiverse 4-inch line, and that is the Michael Keaton Batman masked version. There's also the unmasked version. Right now all we have is the masked version. We're going to give kind of our final thoughts and our take on this figure line in general, that type of thing. You've already seen the figure, you've seen me have to do the arm switch and all that different stuff that you've seen me talk about the head and all those things. This is just kind of our take on the line and how we feel about it. Right? Alright, first of all, the packaging. I really like the packaging. Yeah. I think it's so cool that there's an image from the film on there. I love that they used the movie logo over on the corner here and on the back, and maybe a little bit more information about the film or something would have been nice to add on here somewhere. But the fact that we're going to be going through pegs, looking through these, and fiddling through, and we're going to be seeing Michael Keaton Batmans and Christopher Reeve Supermans and Terrence Stamp Zodds, that's so cool.
And a Danny DeVito penguin.
Yeah, exactly. I much prefer kind of vintage packaging where it's just like the card and the bubble. But this is still nice, and it's small. There's a lot of crazy angles and stuff like that, which would make it tough to kind of stack on top of each other. But I do like that it's kind of compact and small, and the image is really cool. Do you have anything you want to add on about that?
Not the package.
Okay. The figure itself, let's talk about the accessory first. It's cool that he comes with the spear gun / grapple gun type of thing. What were you going to say?
No.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I wish he would have come in with more like the batarang, like a batarang.
I was thinking about that, but he didn't really use the batarang that much in the film.
Yeah, he used it like once.
Yeah, he used the spear gun a lot. Watch your finger, pal. He used the spear gun a lot, and it's kind of the first time Batman 89 is sort of the introduction of a grapple gun to Batman.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he would come with this accessory over the batarang, because this is more iconic to the film. I've already talked about the sculpt on it and stuff like that, so there's really no reason to rehash all that now. And the figure itself. Now, we'll talk about the scale here first.
Okay.
A lot of people complain that it's not 6-inch scale.
I'm happy with it.
I'm happy it's 4-inch too.
Yeah.
It's something new when it comes to DC figures.
But when you get like this, the bigger scale they are, they're not really the best quality. Like,
sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
But I'm glad that you have a smaller line for DC. You never really get those anymore.
Exactly. It's all 6 inch. It seems like 6 inches has been going for so long. We're kind of seeing more of a 4-inch, 3 3/4 scale renaissance with both Marvel Universe and Star Wars for so long. And a lot of people were complaining because it doesn't match other things. This really doesn't have to match other things because it's Michael Keaton's Batman. It's kind of its own thing. I would never display it with my Hush figures or with my I don't know, any kind of DC Direct or DC collectibles. Yeah, I wouldn't display it with any of those. It's its own thing, so it doesn't have to be 6-inch scale. Plus, as I showed in the opening sequence, it works really well with the Dark Knight Collection Batman Returns vehicles. So that wouldn't happen if this was 6-inch.
Yeah.
There'd be no Batmobile to put it with. It would have nothing to interact with. So I will take the 4-inch scale over that. Plus, 6-inch figures are getting really, really expensive. They're like $20-25 nowadays, and that's a lot. These are supposed to be $10. Most online places have them at $10. Toys R Us is now charging $15 for this line, which is to me insane. It's not worth $15, but $10, I'll pay that. That seems like a fair price for a 3 3/4 scale
Right.
figure now. Most of them are $10. So at $10, this is cool because then I don't mind getting a set carded and open. You guys can be able to,
Right.
get them and save up for them or whatever, and it's not breaking the bank to go crazy buying these things. So I like the 4-inch scale.
Yeah.
I think it's neat and it's something different and new. And plus, if it was 6-inch, we'd probably see a lot of reuse of body parts again.
I just want to go back to that Toys R Us on for
Yeah.
15. You can almost buy a 6-inch figure with that, the $20 ones.
Yeah, the 15. You can get those. Those are 15 as well. Those are 15. The new 6-inch, whatever they call that
Wow.
line. Those are 15 as well, and so they're charging 15 for those and 15 for the little guys, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
15 is too much.
But that's
10 is just right.
Right.
As to the figure itself, now we've talked about the scale, we've talked about the price, we've talked about all those things. I really like it.
So do I.
There's things I can complain about, like the head sculpt and things like that. Maybe the ears are a bit big, and it's not the most accurate when it comes to the likeness or things like that. But, all that's kind of out the window. And I think Mattel is actually doing themselves a disservice by putting highly detailed and authentic and adult collector on this package. This should just be a toy.
Right.
It doesn't have, not everything has to be Hot Toys quality or realistic dead-on sculpts. Or sometimes it's nice just to have a fun little toy.
Right.
And this guy is a fun little toy.
And another thing is, if you ever wanted to cross Marvel over with DC, you've never really been able to do that since you never really get anything in the scale of Marvel.
Well, Marvel Legends and DC Universe Classics are pretty much the same scale.
Well, yeah, but those are the more expensive ones. I'm talking about like the cheaper $10 ones.
This is great for kids,
I
no
know.
doubt. You can play with this with the Marvel Universe guys. This guy can beat up all your Marvel Universe guys now,
Exactly.
which is super cool.
The only way you were able to do it before is if you do the
Do.
if you do the DC Direct and Diamond Select, or you do like your normal animated figures and a Secret Wars toy.
Yeah, something
but
like
still.
that. But this is neat now that there's a DC has a line, Mattel DC has a line that's sort of going out there with Marvel Universe. Is the sculpting as good as Marvel Universe? Not so much. But there are things that I think that they got better. Like this cape is fantastic.
Yeah.
I talked about it in the opening sequence. I'm talking about it again here. I love the way they handled this
Yeah.
cape. I think it's really incredibly well done for this scale. I'm so glad they went fabric over plastic. It just works so much better. I gotta say, I really, even with the drawbacks, I think this is a fun toy.
I love that toy.
I really, really like it. I love that it can go in the vehicles.
Yeah.
Say what you want about the head sculpt, whatever. Like I said, not everything has to be 100% perfect.
Right.
Sometimes it's okay just to be a toy.
I just want to talk about the toy line real quick. It's like the toy line itself. I'm so
Oh,
glad.
yeah, let's talk about that.
I'm so glad you're like getting these classic movie toys that you
Me
never
too.
got before. And there's like a lot of Keaton Batman stuff coming out. Like
There
Hot
is.
Toys.
There
and
is, yeah. It's cool that all that
Yeah.
stuff's coming. And I just think it's really neat that we're going to be able to go into a toy store and we're going to be able to buy Michael Keaton Batman figures and Christopher Reeve Superman figures from the same line in mass market retail stores. I don't think enough people are, I'm seeing a lot of people complain about it, and that's fine. If you don't like the figures, that's cool. If you don't like the scale, that's cool too. That's totally fine. But I just have to keep reminding myself that I'm going into stores and I'm buying Michael Keaton Batman and Christopher Reeve Superman figures. There's really no reason this line should be in stores and existing like this. Those movies are really old now.
Right.
Everything, most of the public has moved on from them. I haven't. I still love them.
Yeah.
But the fact that Mattel is putting these into a wave, and it's just the second wave of a new toy line, I gotta give kudos to Mattel. I complain about Mattel a lot, but I gotta give them kudos for this line.
I'm glad that they start out with like the classic movies and stuff like Dark Knight and Man of Steel.
Yeah, Man of Steel and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really neat that these are making it out so fast, because toy lines come and go so fast these days. So for these to come out so early on is really, really cool. I really like this figure. I can't wait to get the rest of them. Even if they have slight drawbacks, I'm still behind it because these are fun little figures.
I can't
The
wait
articulation works really, really well. Everything on it, I'm super stoked to have these. I couldn't put him down. Like after I got him out and was taking pictures of him and stuff like that, I just kept playing around with him like, man, this guy is really, really fun to play around with.
I can't wait to get a Christopher Reeve Superman.
Oh, I can't wait to pose those two together.
Yeah, that's going to look cool.
They're going to be so good together. Alright, so we've gushed enough about it. I can't wait to find some more figures from this line. Really, really excited about it.
It'd be cool if they did like a shorter, like 60s line.
It would be cool, and maybe it will. It could happen. They could phase that into it. Who knows? We don't know what the future holds for this line. So yeah, we're giving thumbs up on the Multiverse line so far, even with the slight drawbacks. At the $10 price point with this kind of scale, you got to imagine it's not going to be Hot Toys quality. If If you're looking for a fun toy, though, and you don't have to have 100% accuracy all over the place, this line is going to be fun for you.
Yep.
If you want to check out pictures, I've said it multiple times in this video, and you're watching this on YouTube, hit the info section. It'll take you to a link over at 1989batman.com where you'll see pictures of the figure compared with other Batman figures and in vehicles and all that stuff. Right? So we're going to sign off on this one. Hopefully we'll have more figures on the line soon, so keep checking the channel for more updates. And I guess that's about it, right?
Yep.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.